Today, we are going to tackle a topic that is often avoided, estate planning. Specifically, we're going to ask the question, who knows what you own? And joining us in the studio with some of the answers, or maybe all the answers, is Vincent J. Russo with another episode of In the Legal Know. And yes, we're matching again today.
Yeah, there we go. Wonderful. This is maybe an obvious question, what do you own and who knows about it? But this segment today is really inspired by a personal situation where a dear friend of mine in her early 60s had a catastrophic event, and she ended up in the hospital and now is in rehab, but she has memory loss. And we don't know where all the assets are. We don't know how to access them. And it's just an incredible burden now on the family to figure all this out.
Yeah, so I guess, let's get into it. That's, a very unfortunate situation, but I think that that's very relatable to a lot of people. So let's talk about why it's so important for people to have that clear understanding of their assets when it comes to estate planning.
Sure. So when we talk about estate planning, it's really about making sure you have a plan that carries out your wishes and ensures that the people who you want to inherit or receive your assets get them. So the foundation here for an estate plan is to look at your assets. Well, what are they? Do you have a list of those assets so that you can share that list with a trusted individual family member to ensure that those assets are protected? So listing the assets, one would help with managing those assets. Sometimes we forget about them. We have money in a bank account, but it's not earning interest because we forgot about it, and it would make sense to transfer it into an interest-bearing account. Also, having a list of assets, we can understand which assets are generating income subject to tax, or it could help with estate tax planning. And then knowing who the beneficiaries are if they've been designated on those assets. So it helps with overall management. We work so hard to try to save and put our monies into safe investments. Now we got to take that extra step.
Yeah, and that makes me think because, maybe you have so many different accounts. Right. We live in this digital world. There's so many passwords to get into each account. Are we including passwords and all that in estate planning? Yeah,
this is so important. We all create password nightmares. Mm-hmm. I have my own nightmare of all these different passwords. So we really want to look at that and make sure that we have a system in place that allows us to protect our passwords. So you start with a notebook with a list, and then maybe you put it on a spreadsheet and you encrypt it, and then maybe you go even a step further and use a software manager that can manage all your passwords in one place. That would really be ideal. It creates increased efficiency and organization. So you forgot a password, you can get it right away. You don't have to lose time and become inefficient or have to reset your password all the time. Continuity is important. So making sure you communicate with your agent under your power of attorney, your executor under your will, so they know what your passwords are and to which assets or social media accounts are involved.
Very, very interesting. And what about cryptocurrency? That's such new, it's complex. Is that involved in estate planning as well?
Yeah, so it's creeped its way into estate planning for sure. And some people have become instant millionaires investing in cryptocurrency. So here the risk is even greater if we don't have a plan to manage our cryptocurrency. So it's an unregulated market, and there's no government backing protections in cryptocurrency right now. So in that regard, it's really important that you communicate. If you have cryptocurrency, there are keys. Those are like codes that give you access to your cryptocurrency. If you lose that access, you lose the asset. So it's really important that that's communicated, saved in a safe place, that information, and communicated with your agent or your executor under your will, so that they can access these assets at a later time. Otherwise, you literally could lose hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, people are listening and maybe somebody hasn't done this planning, and then what happens if someone becomes incapacitated and then they don't have a list of their assets? What happens?
Yeah, so that's where the story I opened with. It creates inefficiencies, delays, a potential loss of assets. So when you don't have a list, your assets are vulnerable to market forces because no one's managing. And if the markets drop, your assets drop, and there's nothing that can be done at that point. Time delays in the appointment of a fiduciary, someone who needs to step in a guardianship proceeding. They're going to be delayed if they don't have any idea where your assets are. And you could literally lose these assets and have New York State or the state you live in take those assets as unclaimed funds.
Yeah, and then what if someone passes away and then, you know, they didn't do any estate planning? Yeah,
here again, it creates additional burden on family members, additional costs. So if we look at this, an estate administration proceeding or a probate proceeding, if you have a will, it can be time consuming and it could be expensive and create a lot of stress for families. We layer all that stress onto the family when we don't know where the assets are and how are we going to locate them when we don't know the passwords.
Okay, so are there any tips? How can we help these families find the assets? Is there a way that you can even do that?
Yeah, let's help those families. So let's give them some tips. Here they are. If you're not sure, there's no list involved, check the mail. All right, so the mail, you'll get bank statements, you'll get bills, you'll understand a whole lot from the mail. Review a filed tax return, because there would be income listed, and then you'd know, well, there are assets generating that income. So we can find those assets. Search for unclaimed property through governmental agencies, state by state. Contact financial institutions if you know what they are, and work with an experienced estate planning attorney.
Yeah, I was going to say, so people watching, they don't have anything planned yet. How do they take that first step in estate planning? What's your advice? Okay,
so first step, here again, make a list of your assets. We have available on our website, complimentary, you can download a questionnaire that would ask, what are your assets? And you can list them. And that would be really your starting point, and then take action. Go out and make an appointment, meet with an experienced estate planner, and they'll help pull it all together for you.
To me, I'm thinking the most complicated thing is trying to figure out all my passwords for everything.
Right.
Yeah, what was the other, you said that there's an app or something?
Yeah, there's software managers that you can utilize that'll keep the list of all the passwords and then re-code them so you don't have to remember what they are, and they can be very complex because you want unique passwords. Yeah. Not one password for everything.
You bring so much information. Thank you so much, Vincent, as always.